Hey guys, it's Bailey. Welcome back to the channel and thank you so much for tuning in to what is going to be a video about dupes, or potential dupes, I suppose, but not a dupe or dud, like the series that I have here. You'll see what it is. Basically, I have been really tempted by the KKW Mario collab coming out soon, today, tomorrow, one of these days. I've watched a ton of reviews. I don't know anything from the brand KKW. This is the first product that I've been like, oh, gimme, gimme, gimme. And I think I figured out why. If you can't tell already, it's because of the incredible blue shade in that palette. I just get sucked in every time I see it. For me, it's the star of the show of that palette. But to try and rationalize not purchasing more makeup, I just moved and was made super aware of just how much makeup I had. A little too much. I'm trying to top myself off of the ledge to purchase. So to do that, I dug through my collection to see if I could find any similar, like metallic cobalt blue. I have to say, I'm pretty pleased with the results. I have a few options here for you, some pigments, some press shadows, some high-end, some drugstore more affordable. We got a little bit of everything here, so if you, like me, were drawn into this palette and are trying to tell yourself you don't need it, but that pesky blue is getting in the way, let's go ahead and dive into some other options. I also do want to mention that obviously I don't have this palette, so this is my best estimate based on a ton of videos where I've seen other people swatching it, but it looks like a pretty true, super pigmented, super soft cobalt blue. So that's what I was kind of going for. There are some nuances in the shades that I'm about to talk about, but of course, we will go through all of those and I'll show you swatches and demos of them so you can see the differences, and demos of a few of them anyway. Let's dive in. First, let's start with some pigments. This is the first place I went to in my collection because I figured with a shadow that pigmented, pigments would be my best bet at recreating that among the things I already own. So I have two pigments to talk about today, the first of which I am wearing on my eyes right now. This is the Jessies Girl Pure Pigment Eye Dust in the shade Blue Moon. And get this, it retails for like less than $5, maybe $6. It's so cheap. And what's great about pigments is they're a little bit more versatile because they're already crushed up. You can wear them as is. You can mix them with a ton of different mediums, whether it's MAC Fix Plus, which I couldn't find today. So in the demo where you see me applying this, I'm using the Inglot Duraline, which is not bad. I just hadn't used it in a while, and I think this one in particular is old, so I struggled a little bit with that. Would recommend Fix Plus over using this, but just know this has that kind of versatility, and if you have like a champagne kind of pigment or a sparkly kind of pigment, you can mix it with body lotion, apply to, you know, I'm getting ahead of myself. That's not even relevant, but I love pigments, and this one happens to be what I think is a dead ringer for that cobalt blue in the KKW palette. The other option I have here is from Pop Beauty. It is their Pure Pigment in Metallic Blue. Very similar, but I would say less bold than the Jessies Girl. A little bit softer, a little bit less like punched up blue, if that makes any sense. I think you'll be able to see the difference in the swatches, but doing my best to describe it with words, that's what I would say the main difference is between the two. Now let's move on to pressed shadows. This is one I'm really excited about as well, from the brand City Color, which, side note, I think I say this every time I mention the brand, but they are so underrated here on YouTube, Instagram, just in general in the beauty community. If you haven't tried City Color, they have so many great affordable options, including this one. They have a whole collection of shimmer shadows, and the one that I think is closest to the KKW Mario collab, Cobalt, is It's a Boy. I mean, look at that. You'll see in the demo for today's look, I applied this to one eye and the Jessies Girl on the other, just so you can get a feel for the difference between the two. They look super similar when you compare them in the packaging, but I would say that the City Color shimmer shadow is a little bit more teal leaning, a little bit less true blue like the Jessies Girl, and just a hint more teal might be a better option for you if you find teals flatter you more. If you like that little bit of a green element, you just find it flatters your coloring a little bit better. But just so you know, that is the subtle difference, and of course whether or not you like press versus pigment. Then I have this option from the BH Cosmetics Galaxy Chic palette, which actually next to pigments was another place I looked right off the bat because it has so many bright, bold colors. It has a good mix, but it also has some really stellar bright colors. Pun kind of intended. The shade that I think matches most closely is Neptune right here. Of all the shadows, this one's a little bit harder to work with. Definitely recommend foiling these either with a Duraline or a Fix Plus if you're going to use them beforehand, because when you use them dry, I think you'll see this in the swatch, it just is dry. It's a little bit drier. It's that baked formula, so it can be used wet, and as when it's used dry, it's just a little, not patchy, but dry, less pigmented, I would say. But in getting this. BH Cosmetics is of course affordable, and you not only get that cobalt, but also a ton of other fun, incredible eyeshadows as well. And the last shade, although I'm showing it to you in palette form, I know they offer them in singles because that's just what Makeup Forever does. It is the Makeup Forever shade ME216, and as I'm sure you could guess, it is this one. Nope, right down there. I don't know if this palette specifically is available anymore, but like I said, I'm pretty sure they only put permanent shadow shades in their palettes. Their palettes are really more like curated collections of their permanent line, which is kind of nice. So that is the shade that I think is most like that cobalt blue color. You can buy it individually, although I will say Makeup Forever recently repackaged their eyeshadows. They no longer come in large circular pans, they're in squares. I don't know if that came with a reformulation and maybe in fact different dye batches, so the color that I show you here might be a little off from what they have, but when I looked on the Sephora website, which has all the new color swatches, it looked super duper similar and easily the most close match of all the shadows they have on there. Makeup Forever shadows are amazing. I would say they are super similar to the City Color shimmer shadows in terms of creaminess, how finely milled they are, but also compared to this City Color shadow, I would say the Makeup Forever is a little bit more true blue, whereas the City Color has that teal pull to it. And that's it for me, guys. Those were all of the shadows that I could find that came kind of close to what I think that cobalt blue looks like in that KKW palette. Would love to hear your thoughts down below if you are planning on getting that palette, or if this helped you decide to get it, not to get it. Let me know down in the comments below. Or if you enjoy this kind of video, if you find yourself wanting new release palettes just for a shade or two, maybe these are helpful in like kind of trying to find those shades as they might already exist elsewhere in our collections, or just more affordably. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video, guys. Bye.